Testing. Testing. 1, 2. Testing. Testing. 1, 2. Testing. I can't turn this way. You see the ball. Now I gotta turn this way. You look great, Seabury. Oh, well, they're all in this room.
All right, thank you for meeting. Today is July 15th, 2026 at 6:30 p.m. at the City of Riverbank City Hall in the chambers. We are meeting today for the Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee. I'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. Next, we're going to go ahead and go to roll call.
Seabury Dillard.
Here.
Sarah Malo.
Here.
Kelly Velasco.
Here.
Vice Chair Alex Rodriguez.
Here.
Chair Sammy Martinez.
Here. Okay, and are there any agenda changes at this time? None. Any conflict of interest? So any committee member of staff who has a direct conflict of interest on any scheduled agenda item to be considered to declare their conflict at this time. Okay, doesn't appear to be any. And are there any public comments? Again, no action can be taken. So at this time, if any members of the public may comment on any item not appearing on the agenda and within the subject matter jurisdiction of the Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee, individual comments will be limited to a maximum of 3 minutes or as stated by the presiding officer, and time cannot be yielded to another person. Under state law, matters presented during the public comment period cannot be discussed or acted upon. We don't have any public here at the moment. Are there any online?
There are not.
All right, we're going to go ahead and move on to our presentations. Item 6.1, which is a director's report that will be given by Parks and Rec Director Michael Patton.
Thank you. So we have our director's report in front of you as a committee. We'll go through it. Under our programs, we included the program registration of our completed program so far this summer. one I would like to note is our full day camps. We had one camp that significantly struggled this year, which was our around the world camp with 14 of 30 participants. So what we'll probably do next year is take out that theme camp and replace with another one. That one we will probably be determined by the public, where we'll have options available for the public to vote and pick on which themes they would like. So that'll probably happen in 2027. As far as our mini camps go, which are for our ages 3 to 5, they all filled up and they have long wait lists. They are doing really well there. As far as our swim lessons go, we have completed 3 of 5 sessions of at the pool. We have session 4 that starts next week. We have 88 of 114 spots available. So we anticipate as we get closer, probably hit that 100 mark. Session 5, we are just a little bit over halfway full. You'll notice that the total amount of participants we'll have on that is significantly lower than the rest. At that point, kids are back in school, and so we don't do morning sessions, we do afternoon sessions. And also with that, our staffing gets cut down because our lifeguards that are either high school students are back in school and or college kids are going back and around. We also do have a contract program, so we are doing another session of Riverbank Family Explorers, which starts up this Friday. We're doing 4 weeks of that. Last meeting, we talked about that we started a Mahjong program. We talked with our contractor. She's working with our recreation supervisor on switching things up. She would charge $60 for a 2-hour session. What she's looking at doing is doing a one day where it's all instruction, and then the next day it's going to be just free play, and it's going to be like a membership. So it's going to be significantly cheaper if you just want to play, don't want to care for instruction. And so it's going to be a monthly subscription, kind of like Netflix and a thing, to where you can go play Mahjong those days if you want. So we're looking at the kinks on that one. Last time we also reported about adult soccer program that didn't quite do so well in numbers, but miracles happened at the last minute. People came out of the woodwork and signed up. So we do have adult soccer going on at the sports complex, both Tuesday nights and with adult and with men's soccer, and then Wednesday nights with co-ed. They fill it up with both. And so I would, if you guys want to check out, it's very, very chill. These guys are very non-competitive. They're all just having fun, and it's actually really fun to go hang out and watch. We also began some discussions with the Riverbank Youth Baseball and Softball Association for next season. We discussed with them about changing up our current dynamic of maybe doing a partnership as opposed to us being landlords of the field. And so right now as staff, we are reviewing the financial reports that were provided to us by RISA for this season. And we were going to kind of look at it and say how, if we were to partner, we're going to be in the red or green or black as a city if we were to do a partnership. So obviously anything in the red would not be beneficial for us. We would stay away from that. But our goal, again, is not to be profitable. So if we break even or makes a little bit of money here, I think it's definitely beneficial for the city to kind of look in that direction. And then one contract program we'll bring up is we do have fall soccer. We are partnering with another organization for fall soccer. Currently, we have 132 people signed up. Last year for fall soccer, we had 240. So there is a big drop down. A big difference we are seeing from this season, this fall to last fall, is our fee structure. Last fall, it was just $100 flat, no matter what. We update our fee structure to where it increases by $25 every 2 weeks. So it starts at $125, goes to $150, $175, and now we're at the $200 mark.
Registration?
So early registration would be at the 125 mark. So these prices are determined by our contractor. So they look at their cost of services, how can they not be in the red. And so these fees are usually determined by them, as they're the ones funneling the more day-to-day operations with officials, with field paint, just everything to make sure that the program goes.
And now we're at
Correct. So when we did 100, the organization, they threw out 100 because they weren't quite sure how it was going to go about with our 70-30 split. So they would make $70 on the $100 that were spent. I think overall they made on total revenue was about 21,000. They were in the red that first season. As a city, we were in the green because our day-to-day expenses are very small. So in the summer season, we're doing a summer season right now. We implemented the 125, 150, 175, 200. We have over 250 kids signed up to where our revenue is well over 440,000. After the split, they are now profitable. They're happy with it. And so I think that's something that we're seeing where once you get to the $200 mark, it's hard for people to say, hey, I can't pony that up right now. So that's something that we're looking at and see how that goes. But yeah, so all the money that we receive on our end goes back into the programs. We buy new soccer balls, new soccer goals, and make sure everything that we have is high quality. And so when we tell parents if they say, hey, it's too pricey for me, we offer full refund back if they coach for the season, they give back. We also have a scholarship program where we have fun money to give out to people. They just got to show that they have financial need. So we do present that to people. If they say, hey, this is too expensive for me, I can't afford it. Well, there's options out there to help out. And usually when we offer those, we don't hear back from them. So, but yes, we do have some options there to kind of help out financially. And then again, also when we open up registration with the 125, we highly encourage everyone to sign up. We post on social media. We send email blasts to all past participants, letting them know. We also send out reminders of, hey, the price is going to increase here tomorrow. Sign up. Here's the link. Sign up right now. So we try to do our best to let people know, hey, this is coming around the corner. And we usually do those email blasts every 2 weeks right before the registration increases. Like, hey, it's now going from 150 to 175. Heads up. So we try to give people plenty of notice and opportunity to be aware that if they want to participate, they need to sign up early.
How many seasons has that been?
We are about to complete our second season.
Okay, so I feel like as you go on, that structure will work. It just takes a bit of time for people to understand the urgency is sign up early to save.
Right.
Okay.
So we have that structure. We've also looked at pricing around the area. We try to keep our pricing based on our costs, but we look at just comparatively how we're doing. We're not the cheapest by far, but we're not the most expensive either. We have Modesto organizations that charging $225, $250 per season. We have people like in Waterford that's pretty cheaper. So I think it just depends. But again, I think what we're looking at is say, hey, we know we're a little more pricier, but all the equipment's brand new. Everything, there's nothing broken. Everything is good quality. Hopefully that offsets a little bit.
Are you doing snack bar or anything there?
We do not. We haven't received much of a demand for it. We talked with our partners. They've been of interest, and we said, if you guys want to run it, go ahead, but we'll continue our split of the revenue there as well.
Only because that might be another option for parents to earn discount. I know when we played baseball, we had to either buy out or volunteer. So that might be an option for work.
Yeah, that's something that we can discuss with our partners. We usually, when it comes to usually when registration closes, our involvement as a city is very, very small. And so when it comes to like doing concessions, we don't have interest of running it. So if they would want to run it, manage the volunteers, we would full on support them in that sense. So that is the update on the program side of it. On the event side, we have our partnered events. So that's with us working with local organizations. We have our Riverbank Tuesday Market, which started on June 2nd, and it's happening on every Tuesday between June 2nd and the end of July. Been talking with the event organizer. She says it's been a very successful year. She's mentioned that she's talked to vendors where they said that it feels more busy. So that's a positive thing to hear on year 3 of her organizing this event, that it just keeps on getting more popular, more notice and attention there. With that, also we, when we met with her for the first time a few years back, we told her that we want to support her in it. We won't charge fees for it. But as she gets bigger and gets more revenue, at some point the city would like a slice of the pie for our support and help and being involved. And so this 3rd year, we've asked her about, hey, are you at a point to where you can feel financially comfortable to get us involved? And she said yes. And so our agreement is that we receive 20% of her net revenue. So after her expenses, And in turn, we provide a staff member on site to help with whatever she tells them to do. And so, in talking with her, she says she's happy with that arrangement, hasn't had any issues with it. And so we're generating just a little bit of revenue on our side to help out. So, sorry, was that?
What's the hourly value of the staff member? And is it just one? And what's like the hours and what's like the value, like price point for 20% of revenue?
Yeah, so we've asked her what she wanted to help out. She originally requested 2 staff members to be present from, I believe the hours were 49, so 5 hours. So we look at the cost of the staff member, which is around $20 an hour with minimum $17 minimum wage plus $3 for FICA and all that kind of stuff. So that's usually around $100 for them to be there on site for the day. So the past, there's been 5 or 6 markets already, 5 markets. The lowest we received out of that 20% is around $180. So that offsets the cost of our staff member. We do provide some supplies. So as they're going out emptying out the trash cans, they put new liners in just because the market's filling them up. And then that little extra goes back into us to help us out a little bit. Go back with Jeanette's staff time or other staff time with whatever questions she has or any administration there. So I think to date, after 5-ish markets, we've made about $900 off from her in our arrangement. And that's again offset the staff time. So we ran into where if we did 2 staff members that she requested, that'd be $200 out of our pocket. But if we're bringing about $180, we're now in the red by like $20. And so for us, it didn't make sense to have the 2. So we did say we'll give you the 1 for sure. And so, and that staff member is, we just told her, you're the boss. If you need them to go clean up or go tell them to go set up somewhere or do whatever, it's at your discretion. And so she hasn't told us if there's any issues or staff's not performing the way she would like it. So, we also partnered with Love Burbank on the bike parade that happened on July 4th. As our contribution, we provided the pool for free for those that participated in the parade. Sammy may be able to give more explanation on, but I feel like there's more that attended this year in the parade. This was the first year we provided the pool. At first, not many people attended the pool, but towards the end of the entire event, more people that participated in the parade came in. So we had maybe about 40 participants at most in the pool at once that participated in the parade. So I think that worked out. I think we talked with Love Burbank on ways to improve that so that way we have more people in the pool and make it worth our time to do it. So we'll anticipate trying to do this again next year. And then the last partner event we have is we are working with the organization called Weird Moms Club 209. They want to host a free community event on August 26th at Silva Park. It's their 2nd year kind of being an organization, so they kind of want to do this like a birthday bash where they're going to have vendors, activities for kids. And so we're working with the organizers on how to go through all that event planning process and all that permitting that needs to go through it. So, yeah, that's our partnered events. As far as our community events go, we have a splash tour where we are turning on sprinklers and having water features at selected parks once a month. So last month we did Silva Park. Yesterday we did Castleberg Park. We estimate about 300 children attended. We're working on doing one in August, and we're debating between Zerillo Park or Silva Park. What we're looking for is criteria for parks is it needs to have a restroom on site, and the space that goes, the space needs to be able to drain the water well. And so with Castleberg and Silva, their basins are meant to be drained, and also there's so much green space to where we can rotate the sprinklers around to where one specific spot's not getting soggy, stepped on, muddy, or in the grass. So with Silva, we've already done it. It's successful. With Zerillo, we want to spread the love around, but with Zerillo, it's such a small space to where after 3 hours, we anticipate that grass to be very saturated, very wet, very muddy. And so we're debating as staff trying to figure out what approach to take on that one.
Would the fire truck be in attendance for it, or would that also depend on the location?
So with the fire truck, we work with the fire department on that, looking for a fire hydrant in the area that's close by. With Silva, that was easy. With Castleberg, that one was a tad bit tricky, but we figured it out. And so I think with Zerillo, it's just looking at the size, see if there's a fire hydrant somewhere right there in that neighborhood that's across the street. So we would obviously love to invite them to come back, because that's always a hit. We've also had conversations with the sheriff's department on having something out there. They were not able to attend yesterday, but we had some inquiries of having some nifty police aircrafts show up and do some activities. So we'll see what we can do to have them more involved as well. So, but yeah. We have a movie in the park, which is at Silva on July 25th. And that'll be when sun sets around 8:30, 9 o'clock. This will be our third year doing it at Silva, where we have just huge attendance, huge involvement there. So it's a good turnout. We're also going to do an end of season pool party at the pool on August 1st. We did this last year where we had a DJ, we had glow sticks, we had just games and activities for families to come and play. The pool, I've never seen that packed before, so obviously it was a hit for us, and so we want to do that again for the community. And then lastly, we are just diving more into planning of cheese and wine on October 10th. So mark your calendars for that as committee members, as we would love to have you guys available to help volunteer that day in whatever capacity that you're available to do. So far, we are doing real well on vendors. We have over 200 vendor applications received. Last year, to give you reference, we've accepted 174 of them. But a lot of them are competing vendors, so like a lot of aguas frescas and lemonade vendors that we just don't want to fill the whole row with them. So, but as we get closer, we'll definitely have more vendors than we did last year. We've already been selling tickets for our wine tastings. Those are already started to pick up steam a little bit. We have wineries already committing to come to the festival. Entertainment, that is about 90% locked down with the entertainment schedule. So a lot of it's all kind of falling into place here. We have a request for proposals out there for nonprofits to submit a proposal for alcohol sales. That closes here in next week. So hopefully we'll have nonprofits selected that can here soon to sell the beer and the wine for us at the festival. But yeah, the festival's kind of moving along, and as a reminder, it's our 49th, so next year's the 50th, and that'll be the big one. That's it for our events. Going on to facilities. So our park staff, they went to the sports complex and they restriped the parking lots, so the parking lot looks nice and bright. We also finished our annual dog park maintenance at Jacob Meyer, so that's complete. So the dog park is open for dogs and families and people to enjoy, with not as many holes for dogs or bringing a little pause in. We also started our brand new fiscal year. And so we have a list of projects that were approved by city council that we are now beginning to kind of lock down with contractors and begin working on. And so I provide the list that got approved. One is the new flooring at Scout Hall that right now is tile that has been around since David was born. Yeah. So we're looking to replace that with a nice LVP, more modern looking and durable. We also have, maybe for Kelly that may not be aware, but with Parks and Recreation, we oversee also the maintenance of city-owned facilities. And so when it comes to City Hall, we oversee, make sure they'll keep City Hall. So the City Hall will have fob access for staff on the backside of the doors. We are also purchasing a carpet cleaning machine for staff to do in-house carpet cleaning of the facilities. We're also going to be installing a camera security system at the community center and Scout Hall. Those facilities currently don't have anything, so if someone were to break in, it really isn't allowed to catch them there. But it's also great to have when we have rentals and people want to dispute when we say we're going to withhold your deposit for lack of cleaning, or people say our staff weren't doing anything. We have cameras now to make sure everything is going well during the rentals. Castleberg Park, we're going to be repainting the gazebo that's out there. And then towards the railroad tracks of Castleberg Park, there is a chain link fence that has paneling that is very worn out and old. So we're going to replace all that, make that nice brand new. And then on our recreation side, for our events, we've been using, when we close down the roads or try to do some sort of lines, we use like A-frames and those orange candlestick cones. We got funding to now do crowd control barricades to make it look nicer and more, a little more professional in a sense. And so those are things that we are gonna be getting here done here this fiscal year. As far as planning goes, we've been talking about the Jackson Stanislaus property. Bill Kelly Inn. There's a vacant property behind Galaxy that the city owns. It's about just a little bit over 2 acres big. The city purchased that property with the intent of doing some sort of affordable permanent housing project. However, that area of town does not have a neighborhood park. And so the city council kind of pulled a 180 here and said, hey, we're not going to do a housing project out here. We want to dedicate this space to a future park. And so what we decided to do was, cool, we'll do that, but we needed money to move forward with it. So the city owned a piece of property on the east side of town, well, outside of city limits. That was purchased 15 plus years ago for the intent of it being kind of like a big storage area for future park stuff, equipment, machinery. However, we aren't that big enough to really need that much space, and there really is no short-term or long-term need for it right now. And so the city council gave direction to sell that property and use the monies received from that sale to now begin the process of developing this park. And so we did a request for qualifications to landscape architects to submit their qualifications on the project. That's closed. We received one response. We personally invited 4 different firms locally that have experience in landscape architecture, specifically with parks. One of them responded. And so we'll be recommending that proposal to city council on July 28th. This firm, they are called Westwood Professional Services. They're out of Modesto. They did the design architecture for Mary Grogan and the updates at Groseta. So they are local and they have local experience and they know the area fairly well. When we did our research on local or design architecture firms, there aren't very many locally that have experience in park development, park design. And so we invited Westwood Professional Services. We also invited 3 others that went as far as Sacramento, an hour and a half away. So with this park being 2 acres, we assume that the project's not big enough for it to be worth their time to come out here for that. So as far as staffing goes, we have a new senior park maintenance worker and new facilities maintenance worker hired. They'll begin on Monday, July 20th. Our senior park maintenance worker, his name is Adir Zamora. He's a local. And then our senior facilities maintenance worker, he's Andrew Sutherland. He's from Modesto. So they'll be starting on next week. So we'll be fully staffed finally next week. And then miscellaneous, our administrative clerk received a grant for $1,500 to pay for swim lessons for local families. That offsets the cost to the registration costs. So we put out an application for families to apply. We received over 100 responses. But with limited money, we can't give funding to everyone. So we were able to give money to 21 different individuals here locally to participate in swim lessons here next week. So that was a little cool thing to have right there. So besides that, that is the director's report for this month.
Great, thank you, Michael. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and move on to item number 7, which is a consent calendar. It's item 7.1, which is the approval of the Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee minutes for June 17th, 2026. And can I get a motion to approve?
I will make a motion to approve the minutes. Oh goodness, where did the date go again? Oh, June 17th, 2026.
All in favor?
Give me a second, Sammy. Can we get a second?
Can I get a second?
I second.
Now all in favor.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. All right, and let's go ahead and move to item 8.1, which is a new business. It is the discussion about administration of city's facility fee waiver for fiscal year 2025, 2026, and that'll be presented by Director Michael Patton.
Thank you, Sammy. So we have this on here. About a little over a year ago, the city council approved a facility fee waiver policy that allowed city staff to waive fees for local organizations to host events, fundraisers, activities within our city facilities. In that policy, we have it that every year I would provide a report to the city council on all the applications received, all the applications that were approved, that were denied, also the dollar value that was accumulated for all the approvals. And so that presentation will be happening at the next city council meeting on the 28th. With that said, I want to kind of fill you guys in as a Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee on these are what we're doing with our facilities and fee waivers. And so on the last page of the packet I provide you, there's a spreadsheet there of list of organizations that submitted applications for a fee waiver to use facilities, the event of that they were doing there, the event date, the facility, the amount of the fee waiver, was it approved, and if not, the reason why it was not. So if you go through, we had 1, 2, 3, we had 10 different organizations or 10 organizations that applied for fee waivers, all of them being at the community center. A lot of them being fundraisers to resource fairs, just local community events. As a staff, we've been approved to waive up to $7,500 worth of fees for the fiscal year. We waived $6,710, which left us $790 of fees that we could have waived that calendar year. We approved all but one fee waiver, which was a local youth sports organization. They wanted to use the facility for their end of the season award ceremony. The reason why we denied that is because all the events that we get applications for are usually open to the public. With taxpayer dollars funding the fee waiver, the mantra we have is, as a director, is if it's open to the public can enjoy or participate in, that's usually easy going. With this being closed door, no one from the community or outside the organization can participate. We made the decision to deny that fee waiver. And so we explained that to the organization. They understood and ended up paying the fee to participate. So anyway, that's the kind of a little snippet of the presentation we'll be giving to city council. With our policy that's in place, it says that we'll review the policy in 3 years to see if we make any adjustments or changes. So if there's any suggestions or questions that you as a committee may have, we can take that in consideration, let our city council know that these are things that may be viewed changing here when the time comes, as well as our city council may have their own ideas and opinions on change that need to happen. So I wanted to have this as a discussion. So if there's any ideas or thoughts or questions that you may have as a committee, I'm more than happy to answer or make note of, so that way we can have that available to our city council to consider when we do the presentation.
All city facilities, or like does this include the parks and things like that, or sports facilities?
So this includes anything that we use that's rentable. So community center, scout hall, sports complex, gazebos at our parks, anything that we would rent out to the general public and charge a fee to. Any other questions, comments, concerns from the committee? With this, we do have an application that each organization has to fill out. It is reviewed by me, and I can either approve or deny. If I deny it and an organization doesn't agree with it, they could take it to city council for review. If I hit up my limit on the amount of fees I can waive, any future applications would need to be taken to city council for their approval. Also, we only tell organizations can only request 2 fee waivers every fiscal year. So if there's an organization that wants to do 3, 4 fee waivers, that needs to be taken to city council for approval as well. So that's kind of a little bit more background on that policy that's right there. And so right now, as city staff, we have no issue with the way the policy stands right now. So we don't have any recommendations on changing that to city council at this moment. And that is all I have.
Okay, thank you, Michael. Any other committee comments at this time?
Is there an update on the trash cans at Sorensen Park?
No update, but I will get you one next time we meet. I do not have an update at this time, but I will get you one next time we meet.
Are we allowed to ask other committee members something? Like what your thought as a resident of Zorillo Park would be if they didn't do it at Zorillo Park for the splash tour? Like, do you think it'd be a problem or like?
I don't think it'd be a problem. I think it's more just logistics. And like Mike had said, it's a small park to get in there and maneuver.
That's why I kind of wanted to hear from you because I was like, hey, like logistically, Silva makes so much more sense and the numbers were there last time. And I feel like the enjoyment for the kids even would probably be a little bit hampered based on it being at Zorillo. Like I was interested to hear your take.
Yeah, when we via social media, we've heard from the public that Zorillo, they love the idea of Zorillo. I think the idea sounds great. Logistically, though, and thinking through it, there are some challenges. So I think it could be something that we could look at. It's like, hey, let's go with our bread and butter, what we know that works, or maybe try something and learn, hey, this is a train wreck. Let's not do it again in the future. So that's again a discussion that we'll have as staff. But I know that based on the feedback we received from via social media, people would love to have it at Zorillo. And so like I said, that's a discussion we'll have as staff trying to figure out what makes sense, what doesn't. So
Is there an opportunity to either split it and do a modified version and still do one more closeout at Silva?
I'm sure there is. The one concern we have when we started with this whole process is the water use. And so if we were to do multiple facilities and multiple spaces at the same time, our public works department may have some heartburn.
I meant still separate, but like that way Zorillo feels, seen and utilized, but maybe not like with the full production of a fire engine and drenching the groundwater or ground for 3 hours.
Yeah, again, that's something we could definitely do. Maybe cut back to like an hour and a half, 2 hours. The only concern I can foresee is the public perception of asking the questions of like, well, how come only 2 hours here? Or where's the fire truck? And so I think it's just, those are questions that we'll have to address. And so, I mean, obviously we can do it towards a smaller scale and then do Silva or Castleberg again and say, hey, there's full production at these places, so.
Unrelated, but for the July 25th, movie night, I don't know if you're in charge of this, but are you guys having mosquito abatement of any sort?
Yeah, so we are not in charge of mosquito abatement, but we do contact, what's their faces, David?
East side.
East
East
side.
side abatement.
So we usually contact them days prior, so way they come out and spray, in hopes of trying to get or minimize the amount of mosquitoes we have out there. I know we did that last year, and I still came away with a few bites here and there, but I wasn't covered in them. Yeah, with these flying creatures, they're just impossible to permanently get rid of. So.
Maybe get some tiki torches. Don't. There's kids. Like, don't.
I will also like to make note real quick. So as we get to close of this meeting here, we do list that the next meeting will be in August. We intend to have that meeting canceled as I will be on paternity leave, and there's actually another meeting scheduled here that day in this room. So worked out well if we cancel that and resume back in September.
Okay, do we need to make a motion to cancel the meeting? Okay, perfect. All right, guys, any other committee comments at this time before we wrap it up? Nope. All right, we're gonna go ahead and adjourn the meeting tonight at 7:12 p.m. and we will see you guys back here in September.